Good evening, friends. I want to tell you what I did today with my personal assets and also with my partner in my hedge fund, Ugly Unicorn, blockchain hedge fund. And I'm going to give you an insight of what we're doing. I've had the blessing of spending some incredible time with some friends. You probably saw some of my videos of some people that aren't on social media. I've been making an extra effort to spend time with mentors that have over $1 billion in assets or more. Most of these guys are in their 70s or older, and they're not on social media because they don't need to be. And one of my friends asked me to come to his house and do this crazy run with him, and a lot of younger guys were there. 30 guys in their 30s, guys in their 40s. And, he asked me to come participate, and I was able to share a little bit of my experience with them. And man, he shared a lot of his experience with me, and it made a huge difference. In fact, I'm having lunch next week with two of my favorite older mentors. One has been mentoring me since I was 19 years old. Jeff Lamb, maybe you know him. And this other gentleman, Scott. So I think it's going to be great. I just really want to learn about their experience more, because at this point in my life, I've got over 20 years in youth ahead of me compared to what they've been through, but they can point out the landmines and the opportunities that I may be missing. Because the older I get, the more I realize the less that I know and how much more knowledge there is out there. Now, what I want to do, though, is this. I want to take this knowledge and pass it to you for the incredible cost of zero. No financial cost. But your cost is execution and sharing this. So today, Bridger and I put about another $650,000 of money into crypto. We had a lot of our orders, and I have right now, a huge amount of cash set aside. I took profit on a lot of these different AI plays, like I told you about, I think 20-30% about a couple weeks ago, just to keep some dry powder. And then I set limit orders in on my future stock purchases that I wanted to make. A little bit, I think close to 20 positions, which is really interesting. A couple of them filled already because of panic, and it's great because I was able to buy at a super cheap price. I just had dinner with one of my kids, and it was interesting. And I know she doesn't like me talking about her too much and naming her and stuff, because she's a private person. But it's one of my kids. And she was telling me that her portfolio had grown just this astronomical amount because she's been mirroring my buys that I've been doing. And it's so amazing to see a kid in their 20s really build their own business from nothing and be able to invest that and actually make more money off investing than the business that they run. So I want to share a few of those things with you tonight. Get your pen and pad out. My videos are not short, so if you're looking for a 30 to 60 second engagement grab, this is not for you, okay? But if you want real experience from someone who doesn't sell a course, but someone who's just been through over 3 decades of tough times and good times, and a lot more good times than tough times, someone who's made more wins than losses, that's what I'm going to share with you. And it was interesting hearing some of my mentors' stories and it just brings you to scale of some of their huge wins, hearing about some of them making $200-300 million in a short amount of time, but also in a blink, losing $30 million in a month, like on a deal, and not even blinking about it. That blows me away. I'm not at that level yet. I do really well, but I'm not at that level yet. And as you know, our Ugly Unicorn crypto hedge fund is only open to accredited investors. And I know most of you aren't accredited, and that's okay. You should never compare yourself to anyone else. You need to compare yourself to where you are and what you're learning and the mistakes that maybe you're making. But my definition of success, in fact, I think old Jeff told me this when I was 20 years old. It's doing absolutely your best and learning from your mistakes. That is really the secret to success. And you only really can live in presence. You can't change tomorrow. You can plan a little bit, and you can schedule it, and you can execute ferociously every single day. But you're going to get the crap beat out of you, probably more than you actually win. But the thing is when you win, everyone will call you lucky. Everyone will say, oh, wow, you've got these great cars, this great life, this great family, this great this or whatever, business. But it tends to be that most people don't talk about the challenges, though. And guys, I want to tell you, when I came to Utah, man, men and women, I had about $50. And I remember walking downtown Salt Lake City, and I had $50. And I didn't have any security. I didn't have a car. I was pretty much like on the verge of homelessness if it wasn't for my kind sister letting me live in one of the rooms in her house. And that's what I decided, I'm going to find people smarter than me, and I'm not going to like try to reinvent the wheel. I'm just going to replicate what they told me to do. And as I continue to grow and learn from other mentors, I'm going to combine these different techniques together and try to build a diverse portfolio. So as you guys know, the majority of my wealth is actually real estate because I've been buying it since the 90s. Crypto has been a great play. Stocks has been a great play. And running businesses, owning multiple businesses has been a great play. The first business I started in 92, PC laptops, if you need a computer, get one there, is something I started in 92 right after I met one of those first mentors. And that business is still operational today, which is pretty cool. I didn't think it would go that long, but it's still going. And we have a little over 100 employees now. And then we have Zydex.com, where we sell high-performance computing all over the country. And we build AI servers and things like that, which I didn't even know it exists today. But luckily, AI is there, and there's a huge demand for creators, gamers, all kinds of things. So it's kind of cool to see this all come together. But it was these mentors that helped me. It's funny, a lot of you guys ask me, well, Zydex, how did you branch off from that instead of PC laptops? Well, two of our biggest competitors out there, literally they're 100 times bigger than us, selling gaming computers online. One of them needed help with social media. So I said, hey, we're doing pretty good. We got 40,000 followers. This is like 2008 or something. And I'm like, hey, I'll show you. I'll help you. And so we got him like 14,000 followers, showed him how. And he said, why don't you fly out to my factory and I'll show you how to start a company to do exactly what we do. And what's crazy is I had a conversation with these guys last week, and they're helping me today with growth challenges, scaling to be able to deliver this massive amount of technology to the demand that's out there right now. So without their help, without these mentors, great. And what's crazy, you know how much they charge me is zero. I just tried to find a problem they had and help them, and they're helping me back. So hopefully by helping you, if you're able to turn yourself into a credit investor, become a millionaire, billionaire, whatever it is, I try to tell my journey. And so I really appreciate all your help. In fact, you guys as fans have helped by supporting PC Laptops, Zydex, Ugly Unicorn Crypto Hedge Fund. All these businesses are grown primarily because of you, the customer and client, but also our great employees who build and do all the hard work every day. My job is just to fund money and just draw a map of where the future might take us. Their job is to really build the infrastructure and, drive the boats and fly the ships to get us there. And that's truly, I think, the hard part. Without a good team of people, it's not possible. All right, I digress, but let me get into, okay, I bought $650,000 worth of crypto today with Bridger. And I want to show you how I mapped that out. Really what we know is this: in every crypto cycle, like I told you, there's 4 cycles in a bull run. And usually the bull runs happen every 4 years, but we make money even in between those years, hopefully most of the time. Even on bad years, like in 22, we beat Bitcoin by 30%. Now, sometimes it looks scary and bad, but luckily most of our investors are entrepreneurs and they understand like there's a build phase to everything. And it's not always going to be, harvest time. Most of your time is spent toiling the soil, planting the seeds. And then one day when all these apples pop off the trees, again, everybody calls you lucky. And one thing I've learned with 3 decades, I was talking to Scott about this, one of my mentors, and that if typically you're 10 years patient and you've made a decent buy in a field that's growing, he happens to be real estate, but if the math is okay, and the math is out, but there's a compelling future. So for real estate, buying an area that would have a lot of development and demand in states that have favorable tax laws and all those things, if you're 10 years patient, you're probably going to do okay. Oh, it's funny because I was looking at one of my properties I bought in 1992, or no, 94, excuse me. And it was $57,500, this little duplex in Sugar House, Utah. I was driving by it the other day. It's valued over $1.5 million now, which is crazy, right? My thought was, well, college students at the time, because it's near the U, were going to want to rent duplexes or any sort of home. So scraping together whatever we had to be able to buy that would have been a good thing, and it turned out. So in trying to accumulate those kind of things every year. In 2017, when Bitcoin went from the low of 15 of about $150 a Bitcoin. It went up to 19,500. I sold a good chunk of that and bought a bunch of buildings. And to this day, those buildings have pushed me through a lot of tough times and helped me bring cash flow in to be able to execute on trades. But the $650,000 that Bridger and I deployed today, we're just like, man, crypto is software. And there's certain projects that have a compelling future. And the one thing that we put together is this: if the current president and administration, if he's made over, they say publicly, over $1 billion is what the rumor says. We think it's closer to 6 to 7, maybe $8 billion. Just it fluctuates depending on prices, right? He's going to do everything he can to make crypto go up. But it's not just him alone, because more than 70% of Congress is pro-crypto. So if everybody who controls the laws and everyone knows what's going on that we don't know are pro-crypto, makes you wonder what's going to happen. Also makes you wonder when guys like Larry Fink, CEO of BlackRock, over 10 trillion AUM, and Abigail, who runs Fidelity, has over 10 trillion AUM, and now JP Morgan's on board with blockchain. Jamie Dimon used to hate it. Now he's like, everything's going to be tokenized. When you have the most powerful people and the most powerful governments in the world embracing crypto, AI, quantum computing, small nuclear energy, robotics, infrastructure of sustainable energy, you got to think, where's the world going to be in 20 years? Is blockchain going to be part of that? If the richest men in the world and women in the world are investing huge amounts into this? Rumor has it that even the Trump family just bought a huge bag of Bitcoin. And if you watched the last video, all these videos going around with the president, he says his big number one priority is making America the dominant crypto powerhouse in the universe. That's a pretty big agenda, right? Now, meanwhile, he's rallying all his friends in the Middle East and in China and all these different things like that to push out crypto infrastructure. China is even going to relax a lot of their laws on owning different types of crypto, which is huge. Can you imagine China, the US, Russia, Like all the major superpowers of the world embracing blockchain like they are, like Google every president of those countries and look at their opinion of blockchain. So if you got the most powerful companies and everyone who controls the earth talking about it, it's probably got an interesting future. This just brings me back. I had deja vu to 1994 when I was trying to convince people that the internet would be something, and the internet became something. And what triggered me to really get into that is seeing leaders around the world starting to embrace the internet. Major corporations investing in the infrastructure that controlled old industries moving towards the internet. But right now, guys, we have blockchain, AI, quantum computing, robotics, small nuclear, rare earth metals. I mean, you got this is like a buffet of wealth. Now you're going to see a thing called a K-shaped wealth infrastructure distribution. I know that's a big one. But it means 10, 20 years from now, you're going to see a lot of people with a lot of money, and hopefully that's you, that have so much money, like you can buy anything that you want. And really, it's just more about helping the world, right? And then you're going to see a lot of people severely impoverished on a universal basic income. It's kind of like EBT, but for income. So that most of the people in the country will be replaced by AI for their work. People who control the robots, the infrastructure, quantum computing, or own massive amounts of tangible assets in those areas, including real estate, will control most of the wealth in the world. And the rest of the world is going to be, at least in the US, will be given a universal basic income of X number of dollars a month, issued some food stamps that are digital, and you're going to go get your cheese and your meat and whatnot with these vouchers, digital vouchers, and your family's going to be issued a housing unit, and your kids will be controlled by the system. Your kids will actually be controlled by the people in power, just like it is today, but even on a grander scale, which is crazy. It was funny at the little mastermind I went to with Scott's place. I met a guy, and he has a staffing company that aggregates, if I got it right, aggregates engineers and scientists and all kinds of really smart people from all around the world, and they do remote work into the US, like AI infrastructure, coding, all kinds of things like that. But they do it for a much cheaper rate than in the US. But what this guy does, from what he told me, is he pays them 10 times the standard living wage that they normally make in their country. So they live like kings in their native country without even having to become a US citizen or even moving here, hence contributing to their country's economic base as well, but also helping their families. I'm like, this is genius. This is genius. So I think hopefully he makes $1 billion. Maybe he's watching this video. But there's so many ways to solve problems now. And how can you make money if you're a business owner? Well, it doesn't matter whether you're an air conditioning bro or you're a solar bro or whatever bro or girl, doing whatever you do, you're selling real estate, whatever you're doing. You can incorporate these new technologies to give you a massive advantage, just like when the internet came out. And one way you can discover this is you ask ChatGPT, give me 10 ways, 20 ways how I can incorporate XXX business with AI, quantum computing, or whatever it may be that you're interested in, or blockchain. And what problems could I solve to make it easier for people utilizing these tools? If you can do them and actually execute on it, it's great. There's a guy I know, and I saw him at an event, and he started this little company called Uber. And it's like, he was talking about like how taxis are like an old industry, but how could you make a taxi experience easier? There's also another dude who started this company called DoorDash that kind of figured that out as well. And there's another guy who figured out how to deliver books and then everything to everyone, named Jeff Bezos. So again, old school evolution into new technology to make life easier for humans. That's where the money is. Now, let me get back to the fundamentals of investing. When you are buying crypto or stocks, now I like Coinbase Advanced for just buying crypto, and then I throw it to hard wallets and things, right? I like Fidelity for a lot of stocks. They're really good. But you can do what they call limit orders and sells. So let me give you an example. So if you've ever thought a limit order, and this applies to crypto or stocks, you can put a choice. You can have what's called fill or kill, which means it's going to fill right away or it's going to kill the order. You can do GTC, good till canceled, meaning it'll keep that limit order. So if you wanted to buy Amazon at X number of dollars, it'll keep it open until it hits that price and then fill your order if it hits that price, right? This applies to buys and sells. And you can have it even just good for the day in many cases. But then what I do is I tend to set all my orders in place, my big orders in place, and then I don't have to think about it or get emotional about it, and they just fill while I sleep. And I like that. That also applies to sell. So if you have profit-taking levels, let's say when your whatever doubles, you want to take your principal out, well, you can set a sell trigger as well. So this takes a lot of the emotion out of buys and sells, okay? Now, whenever crypto takes its bull run or goes into it, there's 4 cycles, like I told you. Bitcoin first, then Ethereum, then other large caps, then mid and small caps and micro caps, right? So 4 phases. We're kind of like in phase 1.6, 1.7, because things ran up, Ethereum started catching up, and things went sideways. And artificially, I believe, because of the government shutdown, tariff issues, all those kind of things, a lot of uncertainty. So a lot of people are sitting on their sidelines or going all cash or a heavy cash because they're waiting to get certainty before they deploy back into it heavy. And that's why most people buy high and sell low. So counterintuitively, we don't go all in, but we do like to buy during these dips, because typically during a crypto bull run, you see 20% corrections over and over and over, many times in a cycle, many times. 20% correction here, 20% there, and suddenly it's just ripping up 40, 50%, 100%, 400%. You see crazy stuff like that. I mean, you do the math. From 2014, 15 to modern day, $150 Bitcoin to what is it, 107 right now, 107,000. So if you've just been patient for like a little more than a decade, you'd probably be a happy camper, right? But most people lack patience because they're used to 30-second TikTok videos and they want instant gratification. But again, you got to look at things in decades, guys. I'm just telling you. If you're not decades patient, I tell this to our investors too, you got to look at things long term. I go, here's the hope. Your grandkids will be like, Grandma or Grandpa was really smart. They invested, like back in the day, they invested in oil wells, or they invested in the gold rush, or they invested in electric or airplanes when they first were coming out, or cars when they were first coming out, when everyone said you had to have a horse, or they invested in electric car infrastructure when everybody said, yeah, you got to have a gas car only. I mean, it's just like people who invest in the future reap the benefits of the future. It's just not that hard, guys. Okay, so here's the action plan for you right now. I'm going to give you step-by-step a few things. I want you to go to Fidelity, and I want you to go to Coinbase if you haven't, and sign up for an account. I can share a link for Coinbase Advanced to save you some money if you want, or you can just go there. I don't care. In fact, if you want that link, just message me. I don't care if you go directly. I don't need your. I think I give you like a little micro bonus or something, but go there, set those up, and spend a couple hours a day or even an hour a day watching all the videos. How do I do limit orders? How do I do options? How do I loan out my stocks? How does margin work? How can I take loans against my Bitcoin? Like, do all the research by watching those free videos. When you go there and you set up an account, I don't even think maybe you need to deposit like $100 or something, but you can watch other videos for free and just immerse yourself into this. And then I'll continue to give you new information that I discover or whatever I'm doing, and then you can do whatever you want to do. And I think if you are smart about it, 10 years from now, you've created a big step towards your family legacy. A big, big step. All right. Yeah, I'm hearing devil's advocate. So Carl's Jr. Carl's Jr. That's Carlos. Yeah, a lot of .coms bursted in 2001. In fact, Amazon dropped 80% from all-time highs. 80%. Apple, I think, corrected over like almost 50%. And the key, what you want to look for, it doesn't matter what you're investing in, is functional utility. And you don't want to put all your money in one basket. And so when you're talking about the 90s or the early 2000s, I wasn't buying just one stock per se, but I was spreading it out in a diversified portfolio of companies that I thought that had a compelling future. But here's the thing. You only got to be right a little bit. And to give you an example of that is in 2018, you guys can scroll back to my old videos. I was talking about NVIDIA. And if you'd put 10 grand in NVIDIA, you'd probably have close to $500,000 today, 2018-19. And you guys know I've been talking about Amazon and Microsoft for 25 years. And if you look at the Amazon Microsoft stocks over 25 years, it's had its ups and downs, but over 25 years, it's done okay. And as you guys know, my two largest positions in stocks are, and I've said this, and again, not financial advice, but for me, it's NVIDIA and Amazon. And I was talking about Amazon forever. So, and the reason is infrastructure, and they have many different legs, but more importantly, AWS, Amazon Web Services, which hosts massive amounts of AI data, right? So the demand is huge. And I'm super excited about what Elon's working on with Tesla because of data analytics, energy infrastructure. And of course, that dude, man, he's inventing like crazy. He's the modern day, Steve Jobs or whatnot, but even cooler in a way. And yeah, I know a lot of you guys think that he's kind of psychotic and all that, but most inventors are psychotic. All right. Okay, so open your Fidelity account. It's a good idea. Coinbase, watch all those videos, educate yourself. Do not listen to the negative people out there. The people typically that are really negative, like, oh, it's always going to crash. It's always going to, those people usually, or the day traders, usually they're not rich for decades. They're usually brokies, typically long-term. And the people who make money long-term are investing in the picks, the shovels, and the infrastructure of future technologies. Again, this is my experience. I may be wrong. This has been the experience of my mentors, that have created $1 billion or more in, wealth. And that's what they've told me. It's worked for me. But again, it's your choice what you want to do. The other alternative is you could basically just work a normal job, put it in a boring 401k, pay for college, which is a complete waste of time unless you're like a brain surgeon or something, and, be controlled by the system and not be free. But I don't know, would you rather be free and have control of your destiny, or would you want to be a slave to the system? It's up to you, And it's a lot more comforting to be a slave to the system, to have someone tell you what to do instead of choosing your own destiny. But this is why 99% of the wealth is controlled by less than 1% of the population in the world. I'm just sharing this with you guys because it's what I believe to be true. All right, so your action, Fidelity, Coinbase. Now, just because there's a dip right now does not mean you should borrow money or put all your cash that you need to live on into crypto specifically or AI stocks specifically. Again, I had that dinner with one of my kids just now, and she's like, I'm going to put $700 in right now. I'm like, do you need that money to pay bills? She's like, no, I got my rent covered, my car payments covered, my insurance is covered, my business, I got my inventory and all that covered. And by the way, I will share her Instagram above, not to ask her financial things, please don't do that, but maybe, her name is Naya, maybe you can buy one of her plushies for your daughter or your niece or your granddaughter or your son even. She's got all kinds of really awesome sculptures, alien cats, walls, dragons, stickers, all kinds of things. How high do I think Bitcoin will be by the end of the year? Someone asked. down below. You know, it depends on this cycle. If the government opens up, that's going to really, really help a lot. But we're going to probably see, I believe, an interest rate drop in this next meeting coming up. So we may see up to 150, but I think we're going to start feeling this in the Q1 into next year because of delayed bull run if we have it. But there's a thing called the super cycle, guys. It's different because this is the first bull run with massive institutional and government support, international support. We've never had this before. So it could be, and if you just look at like Microsoft stock or Amazon stock, you may just see it break out of the normal cycle and just run for a long time, maybe decades. I don't know. But if it follows previous cycles, you could see a run up and you could see a 70, 80% correction. I don't know. But I do know is if there's a 70, 80% correction, I'll be dollar cost averaging. I'll be buying some more and I'll be posting videos about this. And as you guys know, I'm not one of these guys that just posts videos about this when it's cool. I've been doing this since 2014 when I built one of the biggest crypto mining facilities in Utah. And I just keep posting these videos. So you got to watch out for a lot of these crypto gurus that suddenly in this last year became a crypto expert or AI expert or whatnot. I'm just an old tech entrepreneur that's been doing this a long time. And I know a lot of people in the industry and we talk a lot and I like to take their insights, connect the dots and deploy investments based on that knowledge. And I like to share it with you. So, you know, again, but this is, how much is this video costing you? $1 million? No, it's costing you zero. This is just knowledge. And whether you take action or not is purely up to you. Now, I do have to ask you one favor. Take a moment right now after all the other actions I told you, but take a moment right now and comment below. Maybe your favorite stock, your favorite crypto. It could just be Bitcoin or it could be some crazy token. That's fine. Could be NVIDIA, could be Amazon, whatever you like. Comment below and then share this video. That way we can educate more people and your friends and family will not think you're a douchebag because I'm not trying to sell you a course or something. I'm just educating by the fire for you because I love you. All right, take a moment, comment, share, and just be happy and grateful for what you have. And I think it's going to be a pretty awesome Q4.